What's up guys, it's Ben, and this is the video for my final exam. For the first question, what skills do you expect to gain from this class? I expected to be more confident in my speaking, figure out certain strategies in performing an effective speech, and to actuate my beliefs through speech. And for the second question, please list and define terms and concepts from the interpersonal communication chapters. Although communication competence doesn't really have a set definition, the definition that the book gave was achieving one's goals in a manner that ideally maintains or enhances the relationship in which it occurs. I believe this paired with coordination which is situations in which participants interact smoothly with a high degree of satisfaction without necessarily understanding each other well, would be very useful for me because I could use it to network in the culinary industry as well as any other field. Please describe your strongest presentation. I believe my strongest individual presentation was my persuasive speech. During this speech I felt I was the most comfortable. I maintained eye contact, but I occasionally had the speech hiccup. I provided a very informative speech, and after concluding it, my audience told me that they learned a lot of new things that they didn't really know, and it motivated them to watch what they eat as well. So what organization pattern did you use to organize your speech? In my interview speech, I organized this speech by topic order. I used this pattern because I wanted to introduce the topic with a general misconception and progressively tear it down, giving reasons as to why people shouldn't automatically believe that misconception. It aided in my speech because by presenting it in a way that made the most sense to me, it would make the most sense to my audience as well. So what method of informing did you use for your informative speech? In my informative speech about detention of the Uyghur Muslims, the method of informing I used was explaining. To inform in this way, you would need to describe how something works, how it came to be, or how it happened. Basically, in my speech, I explained the background first by talking about how the Communist Party was able to persecute or get the power in order to persecute the Uyghurs. Then I explained the types of people that were interned, the conditions of the re-education camps, and also the persecution outside of the camps. I wanted to talk about every important aspect of their persecution that I could possibly fit into my speech. So, next question, what techniques did you use to get your audience to actuate your persuasive speech? So in my persuasive speech about being wary of trans fats and the food that you eat, the technique I used was desired outcome. Being that eating is an important part of our everyday lives, we tend to build habits when eating as well. So by informing my audience of the dangers of food additives such as trans fats and highly saturated fats, they will be more aware of the food that they eat and will be motivated to either completely avoid eating healthy foods, eat them in moderation, or restricting them in whatever way they deem comfortable. Next question, how has your public speaking skills improved over the course of this term? Over the course of this term, I was able to build my confidence in speaking. For example, before I wouldn't be able to carry out a full conversation with my customers at my family restaurant, but now whenever I get the chance to do that with a customer, there is a higher chance for coordination due to myself being more observant as to how they talk and how I should talk as their server. It's great for me because every time I have a satisfying conversation with a customer, it leaves them with a lasting memory of a great experience at the restaurant. So for the next couple questions were, what did your instructor say were your strengths, and what was the theme in your areas of improvement from the instructor? I didn't really get any feedback, so I can't really answer those questions. I don't know, yeah. And what do I think could have been better in my performances? I definitely could have used a lot better visual aids. I could have made more eye contact. I could have been a lot more comfortable actually when speaking because I kept using filler words like and those are mainly the areas that I really could improve. I think my volume was okay, and the material I was providing was okay too. And last question, what are your professional and personal goals for the future? for me personally, I want to be a chef, so I want to run my own restaurant or own my own restaurant. And to give an example of a time, I think I may have to do an individual or group presentation. In order to open a new restaurant, I would need investors because it costs a lot of money to open up. So in order to get investors to believe in my story and my motivations and pretty much my food and my ideas, I would need to present them a very informative speech and a very moving, persuasive speech, so that they would invest all their a lot of money into me, because it's not cheap. And how does this how do you use this information to help you improve your public speaking opportunities in the future? I will for sure keep practicing in the future so that I become more comfortable speaking, and eventually speech is a very important skill for people to have in their everyday lives, because it helps them build connections, and it can really give them opportunities that they wouldn't really have in the future without it. So thank you for watching, guys.